What up, what up, what up, YouTube Live? Woo woo! Oh my god, just finished I just finished watching tonight's Star Trek Discovery new season 2 episode 5 titled Saints. There you go. Saints of Imperfection. Um and so I have a lot of thoughts about this. And I know that one of the criticisms that you guys gave me this criticism about last week's review, in that I took too much time rambling about instead of getting straight to the point or the heart of my review. So okay, I'll take that criticism. I understand. So right now I'm just gonna get right to it. How about that? Do you like that? Okay, cool. Okay, I have a few notes here on my screen. Reminder, just with like all my episode recap and TV reviews, this too contains spoilers. So heads up, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! You've been warned. I will be spilling some spoilers um, in this video. Okay, so there are basically two arcs happening in this episode. Um, Number one, excuse me, I just had dinner. The search for Spock continued, but it had a twist. It has a twist. Let's just use present tense. It has a twist, and so they reach Spock's shuttle, only to find that it's not Spock that's in it. Lo and behold, it's Captain Philippa Giorgio, played by the lovely Michelle Yeoh. And I've mentioned to you in my previous reviews that I really, really like this Terran Emperor, uh, Giorgio Philippa, in comparison to this universe, or Discovery's universe version of Giorgio Philippa, who passed away. I like this Terran Emperor because she's so snarky. She's so um, devious and manipulative and sarcastic in her comments. She condescends, and she's so spicy. It's like so spicy. I love her. Now, as you know, they're trying to develop a series focusing on Michelle Yeoh, or Philippa Giorgio. So I'm not sure if it's gonna be about Section 31. Is it? Do you know if any of you out there know whether or not this Michelle Yeoh standalone Star Trek series will be about Section 31 or not? Let me know. I'm curious. If you have the information, share it with the rest of us trekkers out there. Okay, so back to the story. So this is the one of the two arcs, right? So Philippa Giorgio, um, meets Pike, and Pike has a history with Philippa back in the day, and so he's conversing with her by this point as if like they're old friends. And what is so juicy is watching the Terran Emperor, this version of Philippa Giorgio, playing along with it, and she does it really well. I don't know, man. it's it's so it's so fun and so irresistible watching her. Yeah, I remember that time. Like when an old friend meets you again, but you don't have any recollection of her or share memories with her, but you don't want to embarrass yourself. You don't want to get caught that you don't remember her. So you just play along, right? Like, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, man. That day. Yeah, man. Woo. That's how basically Georgia Philippa Giorgio is to Pike, but she has an answer to to his, basically, hey, last time I saw you were like this, and she has an answer for it. Not just like the rest of us will be like, yeah, trying to play nervous, like in the back of our heads, we're like, oh, I hope he doesn't catch me not remembering him. In this case, I hope he doesn't catch me not knowing that I'm not the Georgia, Philippa Georgia that he spent time with in the past. So I find that to be really, really fun watching that whole hallway conversation scene. Once they get into the elevator, it's revealed about Section 31 and that she's after Spock, and that's why she's in Spock's shuttle, because turns out the shuttle was adrift and Spock was nowhere to be found in it. By the time that Philippa uh, gets to the shuttle, excuse me. Um, but Pike is not stupid, so Pike really has a sense like this. There's something off about this Philippa. This is not the one that I remember, you know. And but at this point, by the end of this episode, he still doesn't know yet, at least not the full story, because something else happens. And that takes priority. And hopefully maybe next week he'll get the full picture of who this actual Philippa is in this version, at least. Okay, so that's one arc. Very, very interesting. That arc also like allows Pike to meet his other old friend named Leland, who apparently is the head of the intelligence, and also heads the operation of 31, Section 31. And you could tell there's some, not necessarily animosity, but there's some distrust between them. They do share history, and it might not be a good one. And also in this episode, we get to see briefly Tyler coming back, readjusting to Star Trek Discovery, but it's clear that he doesn't have an established position yet. You know, not unlike how he was in season one, where he had a function, where he actually contributed, in some fashion. By this point, he's like a third wheel. He's like an observer. He's like that guy in the room just standing there. That's him for now. So we'll see where they'll put him in the subsequent episodes. It's interesting, but I'm glad we moved on from Klingon. So now we're moving forward. Um, so before we get to the second arc, that is really pulse pounding, by the way, I just want to say that it's after five episodes, man, we still haven't seen Spock yet. Come on, what is going on? And next week, if you've seen the preview for next week's episode, it'll be about Saru's home planet. I'm like, what? Come on. They're really either, I mean, the writers are really, and the showrunner and everybody behind this show, they are really stalling it. They're stalling it. They're milking it, man. I'm getting to feel like this is kind of like The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead does this from time to time. You'd be like, instead of going straight to, I remember season 8, like instead of going straight to Rick versus Negan, there's always something that takes up that hour. So we're gonna have to wait for the next Sunday to see, even if there's a chance it'll be Rick versus Negan. Um, I think we've gotten to that point now with Star Trek Discovery. It's like, oh my god, it's like, oh, it's so close, it's so close. They find the shuttle. Oh, Spock's not in there. Psh. Oh, another one in there. Oh, we're going to Saru's planet. Another story. So, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, come on, you've advertised Spock like crazy in the promos and in the trailer and in the billboards and everywhere. It's like Spock is coming to season 2, but where is he? Where is he? Oh, come on, man. Uh, uh, so that's my reaction to the fact that Philippa is Spock in the now. Philippa kind of rubs the Terran Emperor Philippa kind of rubs Michael Burnham the wrong way a little bit, because it seems that Philippa has a secret agenda of what she would do when she gets a hold of Spock, and remember, Spock is right now is a fugitive because he allegedly killed uh, a couple of people in the psychiatric facility that he was held in. Um, so Section 31 has been assigned to hunt down Spock, but it seems that Philippa has her own agenda on Spock that might not be the overall mission of Section 31. We don't know what that is, but clearly Burnham is warning Philippa is like, hey, if you lay a hand on my brother, if you hurt him in any way, you and I are gonna dance, baby. You and I are gonna dance. You hear me? So yeah, that'd be so interesting. I would love to see a fight between Burnham and the Terran Emperor Philippa. I think they already had fights, right, in the season one, in the second half of season one. Oh, I don't remember, but it'll be cool if they duke it out. All right. So the second arc revolves around Tilly. Remember, in last week's episode, Tilly ends up inside that cocoon, the spore cocoon, because of May, her the ghost of her dead friend, or the spore takes the form of her childhood friend. Um, so she's stuck inside, and inside apparently is this huge network of I guess mystery. I forgot what Stamets calls it, but it's like a whole world of its own, inside this spores cocoon. And my May is telling Tilly, hey, this entity, this monster, this creature is destroying my world, destroying my species, destroying us. And who is this monster? And I kind of get excited, right? When May says to Tilly, you gotta destroy, only you can destroy this creature. I was like, yes, Tilly, the monster slayer. I like the sound of that. I'm a huge fan of Tilly, so the idea of Tilly kicking monsters ass, it's awesome. Now, Stamets is so insistent, right? On the ship, on the bridge, he tells everybody Tilly's still alive. Tilly's not dead. Tilly's still alive in that network. But in order to get there, we gotta do the spore jump drive, but partial. But the risk is that um, basically it'll take a toll on the ship, on the Discovery ship. Um, I guess in a way, in my simple English, it'll devour the ship. And so they only have an hour to rescue Tilly. So Burnham and Stamets uh, go into the network, and of course they find Tilly. But by this time, Tilly already makes a promise to May that she's gonna help May destroy the creature. So they only have an hour, man. So that's so that's the part that's so pulse pounding, blah, 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 pulse pounding. I mentioned on my tweet. I tweeted that it's like, oh, it's so pulse pounding, like it's because it's a race against the clock, and that's always fun, right? That's why you watch Mission Impossible movies, because oh my god, Tom Cruise is gonna have to run again, because otherwise, if he doesn't run to the other end of the city by this hour, his friend's gonna die, something like that. so so they have to find this monster, but at the same time, on the ship, on the bridge, the Discovery is taking a beating. And I tweeted that, man, we only have 2 seasons so far of Star Trek Discovery, right? Still early, like still a baby. This show is still young, but the Discovery ship, has taken quite the beating, man. These past 2 seasons, it has gone through a lot, and tonight it's like another thing, Uh, everybody's like thrown across the room or the bridge, and we see electrical wiring or fire coming out, and it's like, and you see part of the spores pushing, to devour, to envelop the ship. It's intense. It's intense. I was holding my breath. I was like, what I was watching. I was like, oh no, they're gonna run out of time. Because by this time, Pike also gets help from Leland because Leland's Section 31 ship is nearby, and so with the retractor beam, the thing that pulls objects out of the space. So they use that to kind of hold the ship, to kind of hold Discovery ship at bay. But they can only do that for so long, because that thing just keeps like getting sucked in, and Leland's ship's like, oh my god, we gotta pull you out now, my god. And Pike's like, no, 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 we can't leave. By the way, I almost forget. I have this on my note, and I gotta mention this on my note. That the speech that Pike gives right before Stamets and Burnham um, go to the other side to rescue Tilly. Man, that speech by Captain Pike, powerful shit, man. That's some powerful shit. Okay, he said something along the lines of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Um, the Discovery is a promise. I give my life for you. You give your life for me. Nobody gets left behind. We keep our promises. Oh, damn. He tells it on a PA, throughout the whole ship can hear him. And man, it's like, leave it to Pike, to make a speech that can move you, and it makes you feel like you can walk through walls or walk on water. That's how powerful it is. I was like, damn. Mm, that's my captain right there. That's my captain. But having said that, my favorite Star Trek captain of all time is still Jean-Luc Picard. So I'm excited about that Jean-Luc Picard solo series that's coming up. Yes, welcome back, Patrick Stewart. Okay, so just a side note here. I have it here on my note. I just want to say that the speech by Captain Pike is fantastic. I love Captain Pike, man. The guy is so full of gravitas and wisdom, and he listens to his crew. Um, and he would be firm. Like at one point in this episode, Tyler kind of asserts himself a little bit, and even I kind of catch that. And I was like, Tyler, dude, you don't have a position yet right now. You don't have a place yet. In this situation. Back then you did, but not now. So just keep it down. Keep it down. Don't be barking orders. So Captain Pike at one point is like, hey, something along the lines of, hey, if I'll ask you if I want your opinion, something along that line, like, you follow my order. It's my lead. And I'm like, yeah, take that, Tyler. Psh, it's Captain Pike has spoken. Okay, so don't assert yourself. You're an observer here. Um, and I'm not trying to sound to belittle Tyler, but that's just the fact. The guy just got back in, like, again, what is he to give anybody orders at this point? So back to the creature, the monster. Okay. Turns out, okay, spoiler alert. Again, I've mentioned to you that I always have spoilers in my TV review videos. Turns out the monster or the creature is, guess what? It's Hugh. It's Hugh. Dr. Hugh Colbert. Yes. Why? You might ask why. The reason is because, of course, nobody and nothing ever stay dead in science fiction. Come on, we all know this. Anybody can get resurrected in science fiction. Nobody ever stays really dead. Okay. Um, but the explanation that the show gives us is that I was a little confused too. I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, "What the hell?" Because in season one, snaps neck. Well, not Stamets. Stamets is under the influence of the I guess the spores too. So he wasn't He didn't realize it when he was doing it. But my thought is like, okay, if my recollection serves me right, Stamets broke his neck. Nobody survives a broken neck. There's no coming back from broken neck. You're dead. And I'm sure the body went to the morgue and the whole process thing. So who is this? Who is this Hugh? Hugh that they find inside this thing? And turns out he's real. He's a real guy. And the explanation that the show gives is that right after Hugh dies, his neck gets broken. Stamets wakes up as Stamets, and Stamets approaches, of course, Hugh's body and kisses his lips, and that kind of, I guess, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm still trying to understand it. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it as I go. That kind of transfer the energy to this place, to this network, because of what is inside Stamets, or what Stamets is capable to do or of doing at that time. And so that's the explanation that the show gives. What do I think of that? My reaction to that is like, fine. Why the hell not? Why the hell not? And besides, today's Valentine's Day, right? Happy Valentine's Day to you, by the way, you guys. So why not have two lovers reunite for Valentine's Day? Isn't that what this day is about? Even though the episode is not Valentine's Day episode specifically, but why the hell not? And so it's fascinating. At one point, Hugh is unable to actually pass through into the Discovery world. Um, and it's as if that at that moment, it's as if that Stamets is about to say a second goodbye to Hugh. And I was like, oh, I was ready, man. I was ready to like shed some tears. I was like, where's my Kleenex box? Where's my tissue? I'm ready to cry. Come on, all right, because last week, right, we had that thing with Saru almost dying, and we're all bawling and crying. And at the last minute, it's like, oh, he's not dead. Okay, he survived. So maybe this one. Okay, Hugh. Okay, so ready to cry again, everybody? Okay, let's get ready to cry again. I was like that. I was ready to cry. But of course, it's not Star Trek without problem solving. All right. We're dealing with scientists here, people. So Tilly comes up with a solution, and Tilly trusts May that May would keep her end of the bargain and would help Hugh. And I thought that was quite the leap of faith on Tilly's part, because you never know. May might back out of her end of the bargain and ends up or decides to kill Hugh instead, because that's the monster, that's the creature. In May's eyes, Hugh is the threat. So I'm like, okay, maybe that pinky swear, you can't really trust pinky swear, right? That's why you gotta have everything written down on document and have everybody sign on it. But luckily, May keeps her word, and at the end, Hugh gets returned to Stamets, and it's just so lovely. Hugh naked right there on the floor, in the arms, in the loving embrace of Stamets. What a Valentine Day episode, huh? um, so the episode ends with apparently the Admiral decides that in order to find Spock, Pike would have to work with Leland. And so now, moving forward, we're going to see more of Section 31. We're going to see more of the crew there. And we're going to see maybe the rift or um, the problems or the dilemmas of those two cooperation. It's not going to be smooth. It's not going to be smooth sailing, right? I'm guessing that they working together, they will have differences, or it's like a pissing contest. Each of them each of them is a captain, even though Pike is probably a better captain, but Even he has ego. So it'll be cool to see the drama that results from that. I'm really interested in seeing that. Now, so before I end my review and this long rant, I just want to say there is one theme nearing the end of this episode that stands out for me. Um, Now, I mentioned to you in the episode where they went to the planet where they discovered humans lived there. Apparently, humans were somehow transported to that planet after World War III or during World War III by this angel or red angel. Excuse me. I think some. Okay. Um, and I remember Pike telling Burnham and the other character, I forget her name. He said something along the line, "Hey, we can't intervene. We can't reveal ourselves to them. We can't reveal our tech because in their minds, they they have their history, so we can't meddle with that, and they have to find their way to evolve. They have to find their way to get to the point of advancing in technology and everything." And I remember, it strikes me as like the writers of this show and also the writers of Star Trek in general, because we've encountered these teams. I'm sorry, my English is my second language. I apologize. We've encountered these teams in other Star Trek shows as well, and by that I mean is that there's an underlining message. Sometimes the relevance of the themes in Star Trek or Star Trek Discovery in specifically, they're not too obvious, but you can tell that they land their point in a very relevant way. That's how I put it. Like, without hammering you in the head, without here telling you like here, or pushing your head against the screen. It's like, don't you get it? Don't you get it? No, they don't do that. But it's very, very subtle. Because I see that as a reflection of, maybe not a reflection. That's a poor choice of word. An illustration of foreign policy. Let me repeat that. An illustration of foreign policy. Um, because Captain Pike knows when to intervene and when not to intervene. That's how he is wise. That's how wise he is. Um, so in tonight's episode, there's a bit of that as well. Um, right when May when May takes the gun away from Tilly, and then May is about to shoot at Hugh, and May's like, "Can't you see? I gotta kill him. He's the creature. He's been hurting us. He's the threat." But Tilly figures out, with the help of Stamets, that the thing that's on Hugh is some kind of a defense mechanism. It's his way of protecting. It's his way of protecting himself from the environment, this strange environment that he finds himself in. So, Tilly says to May, "No, because to him, you are a threat. To him, you are the monster." So think about that, guys. I don't want to get, I don't want to read too much into it, but that could also be a foreign policy, right? Like, it's amazing how, I don't want to get too much into politics here, but sometimes our government, our country is like, "Oh, we gotta bomb Iran. We gotta bomb here and there." It's like, answer, not the liberator, not the democracy bringer. So the perspective, man. this idea that, oh, we're the good guys by definition, so the other guys are killing us. Those guys are the threat, so we got to shoot them. And it's like, but they're seeing us in the same manner. They're seeing us as the threat, so they have to. So it's so deep and profound. It's like, okay, maybe there's something that we can do when we put down the gun and actually come up with a solution. All right, problem solving, right? That results in May's world getting rescued, May's world getting saved. All right, no more hurt, and Hugh getting restored and reunited to Stamets. A win-win. And that can only happen when you lower your weapon. And that to me is like, come on, come on. If that's not a freaking foreign policy theme, I don't know what is. There's like a diplomatic solution that can be resolved in which all the sides gets to win. And oh man, if only we, as a society, as a nation, as a country, would just kind of learn from Star Trek, man. Gene Roddenberry himself is ahead of his time. Having a diverse cast back in the 1960s, when everybody else think in the prism or perspective of like, oh, you can't sell an ad, or you can't sell a show if the show or the ad doesn't feature white people only. Gene Roddenberry comes in like, fuck that. That's not the futurist. That's not the future vision that I have in mind. um, so in my head, in the future, everybody coexists, no matter what species or color and whatnot. So I think it's deep. The whole thing with Pike not intervening, and tonight's theme of like, hey, you might see them as threat, but they see you as threat too. How about we work something out here where we can win? Diplomacy, solutions, that science base, and oh man, there's a lot that we as a society can learn from Star Trek. And I know these themes are not new. Um, those of us fans of Star Trek: The Next Generation have encountered similar themes too, like this one. And this one is just much more um, prominent, if you will. This time with Star Trek Discovery, it's still subtle, but it's bit more noticeable, and it's relevant without trying to be relevant. So kudos to the writers, kudos to the cast, kudos to Captain Pike. Such a great leader. Oh my God, love it, love it, love it. That's it. That's my long rant. My review of the pulse pounding and very intense, that made me hold my breath, season 2, episode 5 of Star Trek Discovery, titled "Saints of Imperfection." All right. If you have thoughts about it, if you've seen the episode, and if you think that I missed out on some details, or if I had some details incorrect in my review, let me know. I welcome correction. I get corrected sometimes, especially with True Detective. It's just an honest mistake on my part. Minor details that I leave out or kind of get incorrectly. So let me know. Or if you think that you don't like tonight's episode, I want to hear it too. So share your thoughts in the comment section below, as always, and subscribe to my channel. Press that like button, ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. All right, you guys, let's rock this.